Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Lara May, a clinical pharmacist specializing in functional medicine, as well as a certified yoga teacher and Reiki master. I run a truly integrative health coaching practice encompassing functional medicine lab testing, yoga and meditation, and a sprinkling of Reiki energy medicine. Join me here on Light Body Radio to break through your health plateau and come into alignment with your natural vitality. Hello and welcome to Light Body Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Lara May, and today I'm bringing you a wellness illuminated episode, and I thought we should talk about energetic protection. This has come up a lot lately, and I looked back in the archives and I realized it's been a while since I've done an episode. Actually, the last episode I recorded with my sister. So if you want to hear that episode, it is in the archives. It was recorded in December a couple years ago. So definitely go back and check that one out. But today I want to talk about how you can protect your energy and why you would want to, and then, what are some easy and simple ways you can go about it? And so it's funny because I still, work in the hospital environment. And so within that environment, there's a lot of personalities, there's a lot of different types of energy. And when something happens that can like stir up the group, it's interesting to watch the group energy unfold. And if you're empathic or sensitive to not only your own energy, but other people's, it can be quite discombobulating and uncomfortable to be in a situation like this. And I mean, and this can be said for any sort of work environment situation or even familial situation, that if there is this energy of let's see, sometimes it's like different power dynamics. Sometimes, you could be picking up on other people's anger or their hurt in some way, shape, or form. And you might notice that you start to take it on. And or if you're in an environment and you're a witness to this energy and then you start to notice yourself feeling a little off and wonky, that often is a sign that you are taking on the energy from or what's going on around you. And this can be, especially if we're unaware of it. I mean, there are people, and I know I was one of these people until I started practicing with different types of energy healing modalities, that I didn't realize how much of my day and my mental health state was affected by other people's energy because I was so out of touch and uninvolved and unaware of how energy works amongst us, amongst each other, amongst ourselves, amongst the groups. And so when I started to really understand how to protect my energy, how to clear my energy, then a lot of things in my life changed, mainly with how I felt about the world and how I perceived the world around me. So I hope this episode today can be super helpful and maybe even very eye-opening if you find yourself nodding your head and going, yeah, I oftentimes feel like my energy is definitely influenced by who and what's around me. So, one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is by tuning in every day when we first wake up and just noticing how we feel, like while we're even still in bed, when we're not around anyone else, even like maybe even if your spouse or your partner is in bed with you, but like when it's just you and your awareness, start then and tune in and ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? And start to get used to your own energy on its own, completely unencumbered by other people's energy. And this is really important because it's you need to get in the habit of discerning your energy from someone else's for these practices to really start to take hold and for you to start to see an evolution with them. So then you go about your day. and maybe you get to work or you get to a social gathering, and now you're around a bunch of people and all of their personalities and all of their energy. And so notice how, like, if the group is talking about something maybe very political or maybe something traumatic that happened to one of them and they're telling it as a story, maybe you start to notice your energy shifting. Maybe you start to feel uncomfortable, or maybe you start to feel anxious, or maybe even starts to like manifest as like a shortness of breath, or maybe, a pain in the chest or a pain in the stomach or a headache. There's a variety of ways that this can manifest, but a lot of this can be a sign that you're taking on the energy of what's around you and you're doing it without even knowing it. So, the first, always, this very most important question to ask is to ask yourself, whose energy is this? And especially if you practice muscle testing or kinesiology, this is a great question to muscle test on. To just ask, like, is this my energy? So you tune in and tune into that feeling that's uncomfortable that you don't want to be feeling, and ask, is this even mine? Is this my energy? And if you get a yes, then you know that you have some work to do within yourself and with yourself. But if you get a no, then that's actually a really great first step to be like, great, then I can release it. I don't have to carry it with me. I can clear and transmute it. No big deal. So that's just like one very quick, easy, but powerful step and tool. The second thing is to start our days and throughout our day of creating a clean, energetic space around us, around our physical environments, and where we're going to be. And so that's one of the things that I like to do before I even get out of bed is I have a little gratitude saying that I say to myself in bed, and I go through my list of things that I love and I'm grateful for, and it sort of puts me in that like positive state of mind right off the bat before I even open my eyes. And then from there, I connect to the light. I call in my higher self and my angels, and I ask that my aura be clean, cleared, and protected throughout the entire day. And you can do this, and you can also expand it to be in the building that you're in. You can energetically and remotely cleanse and clear your work environment. So if you work in an office building or you have to go somewhere to be at work, you can do this from afar. And I also want to say that you don't have to, if you don't believe in angels, you don't have to call in angels. But I would definitely say, like, at least at minimum, call in your higher self, because we all do have a soul self, a higher self. And by connecting with this higher resonant being version of ourselves, then we are saying to the universe that we are putting that connection out there with intention and purpose, and we are automatically opening ourselves up to receive for whatever is for our highest and greatest good, to have that connection, to create that connection, so that we may be the best that we can be. We can show up in the best way possible. But that also, when we show up as that higher vibration version of ourselves, that makes us less likely to take on the energy of those around us. So when we show up protected within our bubble of light, connected to our higher self, our angels, if you believe in them, and then that's in your practice, then we're already a step ahead of the game because we're vibrating higher, and we can then, it's almost like we have to make a choice to lower our vibration from there. And again, like, this comes with different levels of awareness and knowing, but when you get into the practice of raising your vibration first thing in the morning and throughout the day, like maybe, depending on what your break schedule is like, maybe you can take 5 minutes, or maybe when you go on your bathroom breaks, go when you're in the bathroom, take a minute, have some deep breaths, again, connect to the light, call in your higher self, call in source. Whatever it is that you feel connected to that's larger and bigger than yourself, call that in, connect to it, and also ask, you know, help me release any and all energy that is not mine and that doesn't serve me and that is not for my highest and greatest good, so that I may be at the highest vibration possible and show up as the best version of myself. Because the more of us that show up in our work environments and in these different familial or like low vibing environments, sometimes the more we show up as high vibing and connected to the light, the people around us will also react to that. Even if it's from their perspective unconsciously, they could be less likely to talk about the drama, talk about the politics. They could be less likely to bring down the vibe of the room because they know that those of us, they don't consciously know, but unconsciously they will pick up on this person is not where I am energetically on the same vibration. So I may or may not want to bring this conversation up with them. I know I saw this happen um, probably, I'm trying to think, like a decade ago now at this one hospital pharmacy that I worked in. We had a very toxic boss, and his toxicity really did permeate everyone in the department at some level. And my coworker and I that worked together exclusively overnight, she and I decided that we were done. Like we were going to stop engaging. We weren't going to let it affect us anymore because, we didn't want to keep giving our power away, our energetic sovereignty away to someone that was so negative and toxic. And so she and I started using these tools and putting them into practice. And sure enough, he stopped coming in so early to talk with us because eh, unconsciously, energetically, he could feel that we were not going to engage with his negative, toxic thoughts, discussions, and behavior. And slowly but surely, eventually, we were able to, with our light and our love, we were able to expand and really permeate the department with happiness and positive energy. And it started having the opposite but positive effect on the rest of the department. And eventually, this guy was fired and let go. And we got someone that was better. And so that's like an example of how, like, this can actually, in real life, in our physical reality, actually shift and change things. And so, creating your a lot of times we'll call it creating sacred space, but if you want, you can always call it putting up your bubble. So you want to be able to connect to the light, surround yourself with love and light, have that light permeate you, bring up your energy, clear out all that no longer serves you. Be willing to release that stuff too. So you within, your soul self and your intention, you have to be ready and willing to release what no longer serves you so that it can move through you, move on, and you can be supported by your team and your higher self. And so then once you've asked, is this energy mine or whose energy is this? You created the sacred space. So you can also, what I like to call the objective detective. So you can take on the role of objective detective. You can pause and detach and assume a role of an unattached observer. So instead of like getting down in the muck and in the milieu with your coworkers or your family or your friends and into what I also like to call like the the bitch and complain train, um, you can observe what's going on around you and observe the conversations, and you can decide whether or not you want to engage and how you're going to, instead of just immediately getting on the bandwagon and being on that train and just being right in the muck with everybody else. Like, if you really want to shift how you feel, how you show up, and how you engage, this is going to take some awareness, some definite intention, but you can do it. And when we become the unattached observer, we're able to see how all of the stuff around us is really affecting us. And then we're able to choose, do we want to engage or do we not? And this isn't coming from a place of judgment. You're not saying that you're better than anyone else in any of these environments that I'm giving examples of. It's just a matter of being aware and making the choice for yourself how do you want to feel and how do you want to show up and how do you want to behave and act and react and or not. And because this is really, if you want to be able to walk into the situation and not just be a sponge for everyone else's energy, this is what it takes. And you can do it, and it's very simple, but it's just about building these habits and building, the opportunity for yourself, building these muscles of awareness, of non-judgment, of observation, and then choosing what do you want to say? How do you want to respond? How do you want to show up in the room? And then also too, because when we are doing this, also something else that will come up is our triggers. So becoming aware of what triggers you. Is it a certain subject matter? Is it maybe even just one word or phrase? Is it a combination of situational things that trigger you? Is it something like about, physical spaces, maybe enclosed spaces, or something about the physical space that triggers you? So as you work through this, you will become aware of your triggers, but especially if it's like with, group of friends, family, or coworkers, regular people that you're around on the regular, you will also start to notice their triggers as well. And so you might notice that one person in the office or the friend group says one thing, maybe even if it's sarcastic or in jest, but they just say one thing, and then that triggers this whole cascade of dramatic conversation to come. And maybe even it triggers it in you, or maybe it triggers a defensive feeling, or, sometimes something can be discussed and you automatically feel anxious. So it's important to be aware of these things. And because we can also desensitize those triggers over time. And there's a myriad of ways to do that. You can work with a professional to do that, or you can work on your own with a variety of tools. I'm not going to go into desensitizing triggers in this episode because that is definitely something that I feel like should be left to professionals most of the time. I know for myself, I worked with an EMDR psychologist, and that was super helpful. And I would recommend it to anyone when it comes to working through your traumas and triggers. It's very powerful and very effective. But I think just starting the practice of being aware, it can be super powerful and helpful. And so we'll leave it at that for today. But then one of the next things you can do is to ask yourself, what do you need in this situation, in this, emotional feeling pathway that you find yourself? What is it that you need in order to not be so susceptible to other people's energy? Do you need food? Do you need water? Do you need electrolytes? Do you need a nice calm environment? Do you need a couple deep breaths? Like, just ask yourself, what is it that you need in order to feel different in the situation? And respond and act on that intuitive message that you get. So this is also a part of a lot of these steps too are part of what I teach in my like basic intuition 101 class that I teach, because all of these things are also helping you cultivate your intuition, which we all have the ability to. We are all psychic, we're all intuitive. It's just a matter of building those muscles and cultivating those tools. And so a lot of this is involved in that. But you'll notice as you start to, ask yourself, whose energy is this? And connect to that source light and create that sacred space for yourself and become the unattached observer, you will notice that your intuition becomes more developed and you're able to communicate on the intuitive level, not only with yourself, but with also what's going on in your environment at a different level and with a level of power, choice, and I think I'll just leave it at that, at power and choice, because those things are so important. All right. And so getting to the end of the list and coming to the end of this episode, This also requires and encourages and helps you create mind body practices to support yourself. You want to start getting into the habit of protecting your energy and not protecting your energy from a place of fear or doubt or lack or afraid that you're going to be harmed in any way, shape, or form. You want to come to it from a perspective of, again, strength, confidence, proactivity. We're going to be proactive about creating sacred space, about keeping ourselves clear and open, knowing that when we're at high vibration, then that means the things that are low vibration have less of a chance of affecting us. And if they do, it's usually because we've agreed to come down to that level. So I want you to try these tools and techniques out. I would love to hear questions and feedback. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what comes up for you as you work through some of this. And definitely check out if you are interested in taking this a step further and you want to learn more about Reiki. I have my Reiki courses on my website at drlaramay.com. Or there's even that basic intuition class, which also includes a whole course, a sub course on muscle testing and kinesiology, and so how to use those tools. So definitely check that out too at drlaramay.com. And thank you guys for spending time with me today. Let me know what you think of this episode and again, how the tools work out for you. Give me a like, a comment, a subscribe on all the different platforms out there, and I will catch you on the next episode. Namaste.